welcome to another exciting episode of Candid Conversations. Today, among our guests, we have Mr. Errol Griffith, and he is the manager, or should I say the controller, of the power of choice. Something that a lot of us need to embrace these days, so I'm sure that you need to listen out as we get more informed of what this power of choice is all about. Hello, Mr. Griffith.
Good evening, Reverend.
How are you?
Well, thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
The power of choice. I've been seeing that slogan all over the place. I've seen it in schools, etc. So what is it all about?
The power of choice just really means free will.
Free will.
Well, that's it. It's just another way of saying that we all, as human beings, have been given free will. The belief is that most of us, all of us have it, but because most of us don't recognize it, we don't use it to the full extent of its capability.
Okay, so when you say free will,
Yes.
I have a free will to do whatever I want.
Whatever you want.
Okay,
But whatever you do has a consequence.
now we're getting interesting.
Okay?
Yes.
And so it is to recognize that really and truly, my best life really and truly depends more on, or less on, the circumstances and the situations outside of me, and more about how I choose to respond to whatever it is that life throws at me.
And I am picking up here that you would suggest
Yes.
that we choose to do helpful things
Or unhelpful things.
or unhelpful things.
Yes.
It is still the power of choice.
It's still the power of choice.
So if I want to go slap somebody, that's my choice.
That's your choice.
Okay.
And it's
So
also,
and I'm free to do that.
and you're free to do that. No one can stop you. So let's take me, for example. Yeah, you can come over, you can slap me. I can try to avoid you, but I really and truly can't control whether you slap me or not, because the part of me that you can see is the part that is external. However, now, why I can't control what you do with my body, I totally control the impact that you have on my spirit, my mind, and my heart.
Say that for me again.
While I cannot control what you do with my body, the part that you can see, I am in total control of the part that you can't see, which is the spirit,
The spirit, the mind,
and the heart.
and the heart.
So if I choose to be, if I get angry in response to your slap to my physical body, I'm responsible for that anger, not you. You're responsible for wrongfully slapping me.
Okay, yes.
But I am responsible for how I allow that slap to impact me on the inside. So my body hurts.
Yes.
If my heart hurts because you slapped me, that's on me. If I allow myself to be miserable and confused and be threatened because you slapped me, it wasn't fair, that's still my choice.
If I allow myself. So it's totally up to us to be doing all of these things.
And the belief is that God has given us dominion of our inside. But too many of us don't understand it. So come back again, you slap me. I get angry. I blame you for my anger. And I then respond out of the anger.
Okay.
And so what the power of choice is really and truly trying to help as many people as possible to recognize that power of free will that we all have and the extent of it. And when we understand the extent of it, it is only then we can make our lives the best that they can possibly be.
Okay.
The moment that we blame X, Y, or Z, then X, Y, or Z has power over us. And people don't determine our outcome, but really and truly they influence, and we determine the extent to which we allow them to influence.
We determine the extent to which we allow persons to influence us.
Yes.
Based on what happens to us when we find ourselves in difficult circumstances.
Yes.
So I've lost my job.
Yes.
And I have nowhere to turn.
Yes.
So my power of choice is to do what?
First of all, it's the first accept. One of the major things in the power of choice is the whole idea of acceptance.
Acceptance.
Acceptance. So I can't control anyone or anything outside of me, which is our message number 4. And to recognize that. So I control whether or not I make myself eligible for any job. But I don't control getting the job.
Getting the job.
That's in someone else's hands outside of me.
Okay.
And so if I do get the job, then I accept the fact and be pleased I get the job. If I don't get the job, now it's again accept. But now here's where the power of recognizing that free will that we've been given. I can not have the job and I make myself angry, depressed, whatever. Or I can recognize the fact that I don't have the job, accept that I don't have it. And while I still be looking for options, I can still be at peace.
You can still be at peace. But you have to be having a religious experience to embrace this thought. Would you say?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Let's go with in general first. That acceptance is so critical. Just think of the amount of things in life, and including people, that we have absolutely no control of. And we so often allow these externalities, these externals, to influence our inside, how we feel. And so once anyone, whether they share a faith or not, practices acceptance, and then I accept, all right, it is what it is, I can't change it now, let me make the most of it, then they can still have peace. On a spiritual level, and if someone has a relationship with God through the Holy Spirit, now in addition to accepting and having peace, you can now also at the same time connect with God and experience His Holy Spirit, and have an even greater level of peace beyond which you can only achieve humanly.
Okay. That is quite interesting. As you talk, though, I hear and imagine that adults would perhaps be the ones who are more keen to getting this appreciation of acceptance, and also being keen to recognize that for every action there's a reaction.
Yes.
So I have noticed that there are slogans through some schools.
Yes.
On what level do we engage children, or do the Institute engage children?
Well, we actually engage from primary school.
From primary school?
From primary school. I personally learned and understood that I can only control me. I can't control anyone or anything else outside of me, which are message 2 and the message 3, at age 13.
At age 13? And
I learned it by accident. I honestly thought I taught it to myself through an experience. But however, because I learned at 13, and it's so real and personal, and I was able to experience a high level of peace and what I call happiness from a teenager. There is that desire to help people to recognize what they've been given by God, really and truly, is a gift from God, and learn how to best use it from as early as possible. Okay.
So you are in the primary schools as well as the secondary schools?
We're in the primary schools, secondary schools, and wherever else there are human beings.
Okay. You mentioned message 1. You didn't mention message 1. You mentioned message 4, 2, and 3.
Yes.
So could you tell us what is message 1?
Number 1 is...
What is the messages? What are these messages?
There are 10. Okay.
There are 10 messages.
Yeah. When we've been doing this teaching from about full-time from about 1998. And then
so it's in a what? An institute? What? The Power of Choice
it's a company, it's an organization.
Okay.
So we, before what most people know as the videos on television, okay? And that's shown on CBC for the last 4.5 years. We were largely doing work in organizations and companies. And in 2014, we felt led to go into schools. And so...
Why is that?
Actually,
what was
honestly,
happening?
I felt the Holy Spirit said to do it.
Okay.
Okay? In fact, I don't even feel, I knew the Holy Spirit said to do it.
Okay.
Okay, I can tell the date too, September the 8th, 2014.
Okay.
And we thought that we were going into schools and put banners in school with messaging that could help students. So it forced us to take the train that we've been doing since for 16 years to put them into short messages that could fit on banners. And so the first message is, I have the power of choice. Just a recognition of the free will that I have. I have it, you have it, we all have it. Number 2 is, the only person in the world I can control is me. Number 3, what am I? I'm spirit, mind, heart, and body. So therefore, if I control me and spirit, mind, heart, and body, then I am responsible for my every thought, every word, every action.
My action.
And even my every feeling.
And my every feeling. I think a lot of people are going to have a little...
Oh yeah. That's a lot of debate about thought.
Yes.
And about feeling.
Yes.
And I know we only have a short period here.
That is true.
But the whole idea is that out of every word starts with a thought. Every action starts with a thought.
Thought, yes.
And every feeling also is a result with our thoughts. You want to change your life, change your thoughts. Which is not, I want to be real clear, it is not easy. Let's be real clear.
It is not easy.
Until you make it a habit.
Okay. Yes.
Okay? So number 4 then feeds off of we all have the power of choice. I can only control me. So number 4, is I cannot control anyone or anything outside of me. Number 5 is in recognizing that, then teach ourselves accepting the truth of everyone and everything that I cannot control places me in a powerful position to respond wisely and not react.
Okay.
So you said earlier, every action has a
every
reaction.
Action has a reaction.
We would say every action has a response. Whether it can be a reaction or a wise response.
A wise response.
Yes.
Okay, so you've given us 5.
5, yes.
So I'm going to ask you now, as we wrap up,
sure,
to tell us your contact.
Yes.
So that our viewers and everybody else who has the privilege to ever hear about power of choice to come get the other 5.
Okay,
to be refreshed with the first 5 and come get the other 5. So
and live them.
And live them as well. That's important. The important part, living them out.
Yes.
Okay. So where can we connect with you?
WhatsApp, 246-824-4444.
Okay.
246-824-4444. So 246-82 and all 4s.
And all 4s.
And all 4s.
All right, so there we have it. So we can reach you on the WhatsApp. That is so easy.
Yeah. Landline is 572-2060. And for the email, it is errolg@ourpowerchoice.com.
Okay. Are you on Facebook as well?
Facebook is Our Power of Choice.
Our Power of Choice. So you heard it, my friends. It's Our Power of Choice. So you can get him on the WhatsApp, the Facebook, the landline as well. But you stay tuned. We will be right back. Thank you so much, Errol, for sharing with us this evening.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Smarty, and I have some tips on how you can save energy. Old refrigerators use 5 times more electricity than new ones, and if they leak, they can be dangerous. Consider replacing all the appliances in your home with energy-efficient appliances. It's getting late, and we know it's easy to fall asleep watching TV or with the lights on, but these habits waste energy. Set the timer on your TV in case you fall asleep, and turn off the lights close to bedtime. Be smart about energy. Be an energy champion.
Hello? Mosquito complaints, people? This Missy the mosquito. You believe I went and worked the night shift down there, what part of the building that new house? And you imagine I come back home and all my children, my eggs, my whole family gone. We had so many eggs in tires, bottle caps, even old toys and plants. Whichever part we could get a little water, we had eggs. Me and my husband decided to start with family here because we know we could have provided a good life for them. My family never had to do without. All of a sudden, everything gone. And these humans so bad-minded. Not only them empty out the water, but they clean down the whole place and kill every single egg. And they here hungry as ever, and everybody got that bad smelling perfume, and they can't get a bite to eat. If these people keep this up, I can't survive. I only hope that the people next door ain't doing this foolishness too. So I want you to call GIS and the radio and the TV stations and tell them that if people keep cleaning up and getting rid of the water around their property, this could be a serious crisis. This could wipe out the entire mosquito population. We need your help. We can't do it without you. Help me to bite you.
Take the bite out of dengue. Clean up your surroundings and wear mosquito repellent and protective clothing at peak biting times. Call the Mosquito Complaints Hotline to report any challenges with mosquitoes at 536-4163. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Barbados Government Information Service.
People,
While I'm here, and you see the children that may be studying at home alone, it's on all the way to look out for them. So parents and guardians, if for any reason you have to leave home, remind your children to don't let anybody in the house, especially when no one else is at home. Nobody at all. And neighbors, you all in this too, look out for...
Thank you so much for joining us again. This time, we're going to be having some tea tasting. Would you believe it? But then we should know, because we are Little England, and so as Barbadians, we should be accustomed to having these teas, even though I must confess, when I saw the layout, I thought, oh my God, I'm playing house. But here to taste some tea with me, or teach me how to make the tea so that we can taste, is Dr. Sonia Peter. And she is the founder of Heritage Teas. So where did the idea come from? Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you for having me, Rev Ambrose. Though I represent the face this evening, I actually have 3 other co-founders. These are Jacqueline Cumberbatch, Andrea Fleming, and Sharina Brathwaite. And you mentioned that we're Little England, but the heritage of drinking tea is special to many cultures. You mentioned us being Little England and maybe adopting that tradition, but the culture of drinking tea is not unique to England. It's spread across the globe. And here in Barbados, actually, the culture of drinking tea actually can be traced back into the verges of slavery when the brews were made more as medicinal teas.
Okay.
And to answer your question about what led us to this idea, we always feel that we are not capturing our tradition and our value, especially within the tourism sector. And we felt it was time that someone brings something really authentic to, the marketplace. And you will see that our slogan says that when you sip on a cup of heritage teas, you're actually sipping on tradition. And we thought that we would embrace that concept of brewing tea from plants, whether it's the leaves, the bark, or the roots, which we all use in our products, and offer this as an alternative to Earl Grey tea and all the others that we normally see on the shelves.
Correct, because anytime I think of tea, it's always red rose tea or something. And just recently we started to do the more indigenous teas, but then you buy those in the bag.
Yes.
Right.
So now you have an alternative, and although we do also produce them in the tea bags, we felt that being really authentic would be to have them as the loose teas, which are the versions that you see here today.
Okay, so what do we have here?
But we actually have 7 herbal teas.
7
And
herbal
interestingly, 3 cocos, which are also based on tradition. There's one of our cocos.
Cocoa?
Yeah.
We have cocoa in Barbados?
Proper cocoa tea. Tell me you have not had a cup of
cocoa
cocoa tea.
Cocoa tea.
But there
I know
you go.
that, but I haven't seen the cocoa tea.
So we have one of our cocos. It's called Proper, P-R-O-P-P-A, capturing everything that is Barbadian.
Cocoa tea.
Yes?
Yes.
And as a child, your grandmother, mother, grandfather, I have to make sure that I'm not being biased.
Yes.
Making that beautiful cup of cocoa in the enamel cups.
Yes, I remember the enamel cups.
So there we are capturing that. In our 7 herbal teas, we have tried to use things like ginger and bay leaf and soursop. And we have 3 of the versions here. There's Bay Cafe, as the name suggests. It's a combination of bay leaf, soursop, and a bit of coffee, and a bit of cinnamon to add to the palate, the scents in the palate. We have golden tea, which is a combination of ginger root and turmeric root with a little bit of cayenne as a punch. Oh. And we also have, I think, moringa mint. We know that moringa is being touted recently because of its nutrition. It's really rich in vitamins, and mint, a member of that family, which is very aromatic, and they're full of antioxidants, which we hear about a lot these days.
The moringa, is that bitter?
No, we have been really great in formulating, and this is a really mild and refreshing tea. It's not bitter.
Yes. I've grown up on a lot of bitter things, you know, so I'm old enough now to think no more bitters for me. So
No, we were very careful. We spent a lot of time formulating to make sure that we are covering the Barbadian palate, which we know so well.
And everything is local?
Everything is local. That is
manufactured here.
We work with Organic Growers Association, and they have as their philosophy using methods which will not adulterate their products, and that's why we chose to work with them. So the raw materials are all sourced here, and even the chocolate that we use in our cocoa is not sourced here, but in the Caribbean, islands like Grenada, St. Vincent.
St. Vincent, yes.
And it's all made here, packaged here, everything.
Packaged here.
Yes.
Everything looks so beautiful.
Everything. Even our labeling was done here. And I should also add that we have been awarded by the NIFCA Culinary event last year 7 gold awards for our teas.
Wow.
Yes.
7 is a perfect number. How long have you been in existence?
Actually, we are relatively new. We were officially launched in 2018, but we were very vigorous in working on our branding. And I think that we are becoming more and more recognized. These have a mind of their own.
Yes, please. I see you have what we in Barbados call a monkey.
Yes. Again, this is dealing with tradition. This was commissioned by an artist who is living here now, but she's Guyanese. Her name is Ansel Daniel. And she made this so that we can have it as another symbol of capturing our heritage. It's very beautifully done.
I was wondering if you put the water in there at some point.
We have not yet, because we still consider it a very valuable piece of art.
Okay.
And we use it for decorative purposes.
Connection with the heritage.
Yes.
Right, and I know you mentioned slightly about the benefits of these teas. Just run that quickly, because all of us are into health these days.
Yes. So,
and we need to know some things.
So we actually have some golden tea in the press. You may want to just push down the plunger, and as I speak, you can have a sip of golden tea in the lovely copper cups, which are also a symbol of the past. We would have the large enamel cups in which you would enjoy or brew, and this is just another of those heritage symbols. I'm going to join you. I'm going to join you.
Can I ask, do I need sugar? Because I'm one of those people who like sugar.
No, we're just sampling to get, you know, this combination. Thank you.
And it's
watch
best
this blend.
To have...
This is very hot, so please don't burn. Don't get yourself burned. But golden tea with turmeric is a good tea if you're having mild symptoms from rheumatism, because it's an anti-inflammatory. We're not going to tell you that you replace that by your medication. But if you've got mild muscular ache or mild joint ache, then golden tea is a good one for you. Because turmeric is anti-inflammatory.
Okay.
On the other side of it, the cayenne and the ginger helps to bring the blood to the surface of the skin and the joints, etc. So it gets the blood flowing. Again, we are not making teas for medicine, but we're saying that
we have a disclaimer here. Yes, a disclaimer.
They can't hurt. Yes. The moringa mint, which I mentioned before, antioxidants do work. We may not realize it, but all of the brightly colored vegetables and fruits that we eat are loaded with antioxidants. And antioxidants are great for staving off what we call oxidative stress, which is a change in the body which can be the cause of like age onset disease, because your body has systems to deal with issues, but as you get older, those systems don't work as well. And so we have a sorrel tea, which was adjudged the best Bajan beverage.
And you have the sorrel here?
No, I'm sorry, it's so popular, it's sold out.
Oh, wow. That's
but
great.
that is loaded with the type of antioxidant you want to top your body up, to help you keep a good health status. Wow. So the teas were designed not only for flavor, not only for heritage, but as a chemist, I bring that to the venture with my colleagues in terms of looking for what I think will have that added benefit.
So the best way to have your tea is to have it without sugar.
The best way is to have it without sugar, but a little sugar is not going to hurt. It's always in moderation. Or we also advocate for the use of honey.
Honey?
Yes.
I'm asking you that because I love sugar. I just need to know that sugar is in it, but trust me, you don't need the sugar.
You don't need the sugar.
You don't need the sugar. If you're going to have some tea, you don't need the sugar.
You don't need the sugar. And these are all very flavorful because of the blending. You put a lot of different notes together, and overall that makes it a very aromatic blend.
This has in ginger?
That has in ginger and a little bit of cayenne.
And
you may taste the cayenne.
Yes, I have the pep in my step. Yes.
Beautiful.
This is lovely.
Yeah,
this is lovely.
So would you like to sample the Bay Cafe? It's one of my favorites.
Let's have some more tea.
Yeah,
Now,
it's one of my favorites, and I'm going to let you get the aroma before we actually brew, because
the aroma.
Yes, bay leaf we know is highly aromatic. Soursop has its notes as well, but when we add coffee and cinnamon, oh my goodness.
Divine.
Heavenly.
Yes.
If I may be so bold.
Yes, divine. And here we go. 1. Is that enough?
2, yes. We want 2 teaspoons.
2 teaspoons.
Yes,
is that good?
that's great. And then you're going to add your water about halfway.
Yes, cannot forget the water.
Yeah. And the others should be smelling this as the hot water hits it. I hope they are.
Yes.
Yeah, that's about good.
That's about good.
Yes. And
fantastic.
then we put on our cover.
And then we put back the cover.
And let that brew a bit, and then we'll sample.
Okay.
Yes.
So whilst that is brewing, I'm going to
continue with your golden
So
tea.
where are you located?
Our office is in Elizabeth Park, and we are still new, and COVID-19 and the restrictions and the protocols impacted on all of us, and small business, of course. So we had to pull a lot of our material from the stores and the shops, and we're now being back out there. But you can contact us directly. The numbers 228-1529, that is our office. Our email address, heritageteasbb@gmail.com. We are on Facebook. We are modern. We are on Instagram.
Instagram.
So you have no problem finding us.
Trust me, I actually had a cup of tea without sugar. I deserve a round of applause.
There you go. So you can sample the Bay Cafe before we wrapped up. Well, I think we may be running out of time, and I don't want you to miss that.
All right, yes. Trying to be very healthy these days.
I think you probably need to turn it so that, yes.
Oh, there, pour me.
Just pull it up, yeah.
Oh.
There we go.
That's it.
There we go.
That's why I can actually do it, but I want you to do it. I want you to show
me. Want to? Okay.
Trust me.
Okay.
Now let's see if I can smell it. Yes.
Fantastic. It's beautiful. I especially love the fact that we are able to blend, because not everybody loves soursop tea. They talk about it having that bitter aftertaste.
Oh.
But the fact that we blended it with bay leaf and coffee and a bit of cinnamon, we came up with something that is just very delightful.
It is totally delightful. Tea with Dr. Sonia Peter on Candid Conversations. And you know where to find her. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yo, you don't know this is your boy Molly, aka Daddy No Land, and I can't reason we want to seriously. Look, because of COVID-19, everybody online now. But be careful. If somebody online who don't know you ask you your name, where you live, what your parents do for a living, the answer is no. Don't give it out. Don't give your information to nobody. And I mean nobody. Even if it's one of your friends. Ask you to share naked pictures, sexual pictures, so no. Remember what posted online stays online and just end up in the dark web. But don't delete. If you playing a game and they offer you free things, if you come in a private chat room with them, so no. Somebody like that up to no good. Remember, keep your password safe so nobody can hack your account. So no to giving it out when you're in your classroom. Respect your classmate and your teachers. Saying no to posting porn. Stop it. So stay safe and we can get through this together. Remember to sanitize and wear one a mask. And this is a message from the daddy. Big up on yourself.
My name is Smarty. Let me show you how to save energy. Don't leave your devices plugged in all day. That can be bad for some devices and it wastes energy. Here's a better way. When possible, always unplug your chargers and devices. That's an easy way to save you money on energy. Whoa, it's freezing in here. Don't leave the air conditioner on in an empty office. Turn off the AC when it's not needed. Be smart about energy. Be an energy champion.
I love making friends out on the reef where I work. There are no dirty pipes, and the water and reef here are clean and healthy. But the reef where I live is not as healthy as it used to be. The runoff from those pipes is killing the coral and the sea life. I wish my reef was clean and healthy again.
There are lots of things we can do to make Terry's dream come true.
Let's do our part to keep the coastlines clean, safe, fun, and climate resilient. To protect our coast, the Coastal Zone Management Unit did some studies to make Barbados better at managing its coastal and marine resources while including disaster risk management and climate change adaptation. My coast, my home, my future. To find out more about how you can help, follow the Coastal Zone Management Unit on social media or visit www.coastal.gov.bb.
Thanks for staying with us on Candid Conversations. We are now going to have our roundtable discussion, and this should be quite interesting. It's all to do with mental health, and it's a subject that is still taboo in Barbados and I'm sure in the Caribbean region, but it's something that we must address. So for our Candid Conversation, our roundtable discussion, we have the director of the hospital, the psychiatric hospital, Mr. David Leacock. As well, we have Sid Birch Prescott, and she's our occupational therapist. And we have Mr. Joel Barrow. He's the drug therapist, and he's a nursing officer. And we are going to be talking about mental health and COVID-19. Welcome, folks.
Thank
it
you.
is such a joy to have you.
Thank you.
Pleasure being here.
Great. What is mental health? Anybody could start. What is mental health?
But I will start the ball rolling with that.
Yes, please.
The term mental health refers to our psychological, social, and emotional well-being. Simply put, it affects how we think, feel, and act. And let's take that a little bit broader. It determines how we handle our daily stressors, our problems of everyday living, how we get on at work, how we chat with others. So our mental health really is the crux of how we function from day to day. It's interesting, you know, we take care of our physical health all the time, but our mental health, as you said, it's taboo at times. So we don't ever want to discuss that. And in our small society, it's difficult. We don't want people to know, gee whiz, you know, I'm not handling this very well. Things are rough with me. But if you are able to talk about that, to ventilate how you feel, that right there, you're taking care of your mental health.
So once we are not able to talk, communicate,
to handle the daily stressors, and stress comes every day.
And stress comes.
It hits at us every day, whether we're on the road driving, home, paying the bills. So we get stress every day, and we must be able to manage that so that we're still able to function and do all that we have to do to manage our own lives.
I don't think many people like even to pass Black Rock.
That's true.
Yes.
Yes.
Because we associate it with being crazy.
Yes,
So,
that's correct.
so basically, if we're not able to manage our stress levels, we're not crazy. We're just having a mental situation.
We can say that, yes. When we are not able to manage the problems of everyday living, we call it you're having some mental health issues, mental health problems. And the interesting thing about that is we all have mental health issues at one point or the other. We all have that.
We all have
yes,
that.
we all have that.
Yes.
Just as we all have mental, physical issues as well. We all have mental issues from time to time.
So it's kind of natural.
It's natural.
So
it's
the
natural.
management is important. The management is important. Management is important.
You mustn't see mental health as a static process or a static state that we are always in one situation or another. As we always say, it's a continuum. And in one day, you may feel perfectly well and you're able to address or handle issues quite easily and readily. And then, let's say, COVID comes along. And your day-to-day things that you're accustomed doing, you have to change how you're doing. You come through a door, someone says to you, give me your hands to sanitize them. You may feel as though they invade your personal space. Little small things that we may think aren't important to another person who may have phobias about close contact with other persons.
Simple things.
Simple things to us.
Yes.
But to that person, that is a major change for them in how they do their daily activities. So those seemingly small things for a person, as I said, based on where they are along their mental health situation, can have great impacts for that particular person.
Yeah, because I went into a mall recently, and the mall, of course, have about 20 stores. I went in about 15, and every time I was like, for real?
Your hands are very clean at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, but my brain was telling me I'm not coming back to this shop. I do not need this.
Right. So it's your ability to deal with that change, to adjust to that.
And again, how you frame it.
And how
you may decide yourself,
yes.
at least I know for a fact my hands are clean.
Yeah, so it all has to do with your mental state, how you think.
That's correct.
How you see life.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Stress is, everything happens every day. Things are happening to me and you. The same that happens to you, they happen to me, and it may be stress for me and not for you. Because based on how I frame it or how I see it, if it's a challenge to me, they may see it as being stressful. To you, you just say, well, that's a part of life, and just roll with it. So it depends on how we all frame our situations, determine whether it becomes stressful or not.
Fair enough. You said COVID came along.
Yes.
Yes. So talk about this. COVID came along, so we have a higher rate of mental issues going on among persons. Are people admitting? Is it something that?
I always tell persons, anytime we have disasters or any sudden change in our circumstances, people usually would try to adapt to the first response that we try to use what we're accustomed doing in other situations to try to manage in this situation. Sometimes the more what we call higher level functions that we would normally want to have as far as, let's say, how we relate to people and stuff don't become the major issues for us. It's survival mode. Persons are going to just addressing their basic needs. But then we see sometimes a few months or a few weeks or sometimes a few years later, those issues that we sometimes had to suppress at that point in time can become challenging for us at a later time. So as we said, in the first few months of COVID, from the hospital standpoint, we actually were very strict in our approach as far as how we admitted persons or who came to us. We understood we were getting calls for persons who had some challenges, and we tried to work with persons in the community or via telephone, those kind of things. But we have started to see an increase in our admission rate over the last 2 or 3 months, where we actually see a large number of persons that were perhaps not managing or were sometimes just doing the basic to get through the last few months are now actually having a lot more challenges with whether it's family, relationships, loss of work, financial challenges. All these things are now snowballing. Whereas, as I said before, your main drive or your main focus was just do the basics. Keep yourself safe, look after your family, those kind of things. Now all these other things that you somehow put on the back burner at that point in time are now coming home and you're having to deal with it.
Because COVID seems not to be going anywhere, huh?
And within all that Mr. Leacock said came the fear, the anxiety, the frustration, the stressors. And as we were not seeing them, the fact is when we started admitting, all that came to the fore. So it was there, and as you said, they were just in survival mode. But then everything now is coming to the forefront, and it manifests in some kind of mental health issue.
Okay, so Joel, how does all of this impact? You're a nursing officer.
Yes, I am.
So what are you exposed to, or what do we expose you to as we come to the psychiatric?
Well, I'm actually attached to the drug rehab unit, and due to COVID, I have seen, and I would say not a significant increase, but an increase in persons coming. As COVID came, as Mr. Leacock said and Sid said, you get stress, and therefore people handle stress differently. Some people resort to drugs. And therefore, some people who were using drugs before, but not at that rate, they have time on their hands, they have more stress, they have less money, so they just go and they use more of a particular drug. Even some drugs such as alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, and that snowballed into possibly a disorder and brought them to the psychiatric hospital at some point in time.
And these are adults?
Yes.
I would say for most part.
For the most part?
Yeah, for the most part. If you want to go into children.
Yes, because I'm coming to that. How do you believe children are coping with the new situation? Because in terms of, well, children and parents. So we can talk about the children first, because I'm a parent and I am totally stressed. You need to have school every single day. But anyway, we have the blended approach and so on. So how are children coping with this situation?
Well,
being away from school and out full time. And
before you even go to that, let's say the issue of schooling and the change from that standpoint, as I said, a lot of the issues that we have is, as I said, many parents and the children themselves, sometimes we take for granted the norm that exists, and how easy it is for persons to get into a routine and just do, because it's routine. You get up each morning, you prepare yourself for school, you go off to school, you come back home. Parents go off to work and those kind of things. So just the change from doing that in itself is a challenge. I think the NCSA released their report very recently as far as school-aged children and the use of substances. And it looked at the fact that you are seeing an earlier start when it comes to children using alcohol as well as marijuana. I think they said it's either 8 or 9 or 10, around that age, that you're seeing an increase in the persons who are doing this substance use. And it's evident now that we are sometimes seeing more kids using. Obviously, in most cases when persons are using, it is from actual family situation that they're actually either seeing persons using, or they're being exposed to it, because in most cases, most children don't have the resources to go and purchase marijuana, or they can't go and purchase alcohol. So when they are using, it's usually from the home setting. Obviously, with COVID, as Joe's mentioned, persons are in the home now. You're all in very close quarters in some instances, and a parent who is very stressed out, if you say, for example, you're now being asked to manage homeschooling, and it's not something that you are necessarily good at.
Or never.
You're stressed out, and you may say, okay, let me just have a glass of wine in the evening to calm the nerves. But that's your child also seeing you that when you are stressed out, you're going to calm the nerves by having a glass of alcohol. So that reinforces the idea to children that this is a coping mechanism that you can use. If mommy's going to use it when she's stressed out, well, I'm very stressed out because I'm at home and I also need to calm my nerves. So they may as well learn from your behaviors. As you say, it's not something you're trying to do or teach them, but by your actions, they're also learning. So definitely we're seeing the risk is being increased as far as children are concerned, and the issue of substance abuse is a big one for us in Barbados. And even though persons, when I made the last comment about marijuana, the fact that we still propose or support the idea that it should only be used under the guidance of a practitioner. I got a lot of lashes on Facebook and other places, but we are professionals, and we're still going to continue to preach what we think is best for the public of Barbados. So
say that again. I'm giving you this form to say that again. What do you think is best for Barbados?
As I said, persons, the decisions we made relative to persons using marijuana for other reasons, whether it's religious purposes or otherwise. From our standpoint, we're going to go based on the science that we see, and when persons use, what potentially happens to those persons. And we continue to see it every day. Persons will tell you, oh, well, you know that you can use it safely and what's not. From what we are seeing, we don't have evidence to support that. Our kids that come to us...
You do not have evidence to support use of marijuana.
What we've always said If a person is going to use marijuana or use any substances, it should be controlled the same way if you're going to take Panadol. You can be sure that one pill contains this amount of Panadol, and it will do, or this amount of acetaminophen, and it will do this to the person's body. When a person goes and they utilizes marijuana or what's not, you can't be sure when you go to your weed man that you're getting 5% THC, 10% THC. You're going and praying that he gives you something that doesn't have in
something else.
Exactly. So the challenge that we have is that we do know that there are positive uses for marijuana and for the other cannabinoids that are in the substances of the marijuana plant. It has been proven that they can help with some person with seizures, other disorders. What we're saying is, yes, fine. In those cases where you can actually control it and be used medicinally, fine. We support that. But the recreational use of marijuana was not just for the purpose of persons getting a high. It's not something we support because we know it's also addictive. And the results that we have then, as that Joel and also said, we'll spend the next 10 to 20 years trying to help these persons get off the substances.
And we do not need that. Raise the resources. Yes, please.
I want to return to something that Mr. Leacock said early on with children. I want to, because I think people need to understand what happens to the children with the pandemic. With the removal of structure of school and the norm of that, structure and routine provides us with some kind of predictability. I know I have this here, there's a routine. With that removed, and children at home, you have restless behavior. You have impulsive, I'm doing things, just finding something to do, some impulsive behaviors, poor attention span. You want them to stick with the online teaching for half an hour, they can only take 15 minutes of it.
Yes, 5 minutes.
5 minutes, right.
Yes.
Okay,
please.
So you have that poor attention span and all that stress on them, stress on the parent, and then it leads on to bad behavior and it's difficult to control. So we have been seeing some of that in the hospital with the admissions, with the opening of the hospital, some children coming in with those specific kinds of behaviors that we have to now teach them how to cope with the stressors, how to cope with the new system that we have.
The new system that we have
Yes.
that we haven't yet finalized.
Exactly.
That we are all still going through.
But we're already seeing some of the results of that, you see. So we have to deal with it. Teach the children the coping skills to manage the online teaching when you return to school, talking to your friends, not the hugging that we love to do.
Yes.
Can't you do all of that? So we have to cope with all those, teach them how to cope with all those behaviors.
Now you speak about that. That's one of the things I have here. Do you think that children will be able to cope with the not socializing aspect of, because you just mentioned children, you know, they like to, because I would have thought naturally once they have the mask on they can't talk, but I hear these little people saying, oh, we was talking about it, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yes.
How is this happening?
Yes.
An important part of development for children in the whole is socialization. It's critical for persons to interact at those ages, and that's important for them. So we appreciate that not being in situations where they can interact. Interaction not only via social media, those platforms, the physical interactions that go with actually seeing persons, nuances, the body language, how we express ourselves, is critical for the development of our young persons. So obviously any change from that can have detrimental effects. What we are saying though is that there's a need for us to provide systems or training, as Sid mentioned, the need for parents to understand what is normal behavior for an adolescent. Right. Because as I said, your kid is going to school most days. So what they are doing and what's not at school you may not be privy to. But when they're home with you and they act that way, you want to know, who's this child? So it's going to seem strange to you sometimes that the behavior they might display to their friends, they're now given to you. And it's not what you're accustomed to. So then you might have some pushback and back and forth between you and the kid. As you said, after 5 or 10 minutes, you were saying, schools, please be open, come for these children.
Yes.
So we understand that there's a need, but part of it is also educating parents, educating family members as to how to navigate this changing situation. It is fluid and things continue to change all the time. As you said, we started out early in the year with one set of things that we were doing. By August, we were doing something a little slightly different. We've gone back to school and we're trying to have a blended approach where you're having some in-class instruction, some online instructions. Right, as you said, it may work for some persons, it may challenge other persons.
Definitely.
So we still have to find ways, whether it's the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Health, all got to come together and make sure that we are working towards the best for the well-being of both the children and the parents. Because we said, It's a family.
Definitely.
Our time is really short and it's running away. My last thing for you is, how can the psychiatric hospital actually help? What would you advise us to do?
Well, I'll touch on that from the drug rehabilitation point of view. What I would say is that when we realized that COVID was came upon us, we definitely had to change our approach. We had to change our schedule, our timings. So what we have done at the drug rehab unit is that we have actually now revamped our program, and we added detox onto our actual working program. So therefore, before COVID, you can actually come to the psychiatric hospital and actually be admitted there for 2 or 3 weeks to detox. Now we've gone to a different approach where we have what is called an outpatient detox, and therefore the person is able to come and go and be checked upon. So that can work. We also went to an appointment system where, well, with social distancing, that you can have the large numbers. So therefore, we have actually now gone into an appointment system where people can come for an hour or 2 back and forth and still capture everyone who needs the attention, but still within a safe environment.
Thank you so much.
I would just want to tell parents, as David said, teaching parents as well, just 3 simple points. Communicate. That's one, openly to your child. Have patience. This is new. This is new changes. We have to adjust to the changes. And the last one, try to maintain some kind of structure and routine for that child. No matter how, you may find it difficult, but for a period of the day, have that structure. Remember, it lends to predictability. Oh, I am doing this now, and then I'm doing this after. It gives a level of comfort to that child to know what's coming next. Children get confused when they don't know. You're smiling, what's happening next? So those 3 points, communicate, have the patience, and set a structure.
Communicate, have patience, and set a structure.
Yes.
There is so much more that I need to know.
Yeah, I'm sure, yes.
And that the rest of our viewing audience need to know, so we're going to have you back. So this is not the end. You have to come back. Also, so we're going to see you on the next episode. Okay? It was so good chatting with you, and we look forward to the next time when we have part 2 of mental health and COVID-19 and whatever else comes to my mind, because it's a candid conversation. Thanks so much for being with us on this season. Thank you.
Thank you.